Most men lose women not because they are toxic, but because they are too correct. They give honesty when mystery is required. They give reassurance when tension is needed. They give effort when distance would have created desire. And then they hear the most confusing sentence in modern dating. You're perfect, but I don't feel it. This video will dismantle that sentence, because what women need for stability is not what they want for attraction. And the men who don't understand this become emotionally invisible. Stay until the end, because once you see this pattern, you will never approach women or yourself the same way again. Part 1. The need-want paradox. Why good men fail silently. Women operate through two parallel psychological systems that men often collapse into one. This collapse is the beginning of failure. The first system is attachment. The second system is arousal. Attachment answers the question, am I safe here long-term? Arousal answers a completely different question. Am I emotionally alive here right now? Men assume that satisfying the first automatically activates the second. It does not. A woman can deeply need emotional safety, loyalty, patience, and consistency, and still feel nothing when she looks at the man providing it. This is not cruelty. This is biology layered with psychology. Attachment evolved to preserve survival. Arousal evolved to preserve vitality. One protects the nest, the other selects the fire. When a man overinvests in being reliable before being compelling, he satisfies a need that was never asked for yet. This creates a psychological imbalance. Gratitude without desire. And gratitude is not attraction. Gratitude feels polite. Attraction feels dangerous. This is why many women say, he's everything I should want. The word should is the alarm bell, because desire does not respond to should. Desire responds to emotional contrast. Carl Jung explained this through the concept of the shadow. The shadow contains traits society discourages, but the psyche secretly seeks. In feminine psychology, the shadow is not violence or immorality. It is intensity, unpredictability, emotional risk, and the feeling of being moved beyond comfort. When a man presents himself as emotionally complete, endlessly available, and perfectly accommodating, he removes the very tension that awakens the shadow. The result is safety without polarity, stability without spark, and the woman doesn't consciously understand why she's withdrawing. She just feels bored, restless, or strangely irritated. She may even blame herself, or worse, resent him for making her feel nothing. This is the quiet tragedy of the good man. Part 2. Why want is about tension, not kindness. Want is not logical. Want is a nervous system response. Attraction happens when a woman's emotional system cannot fully predict you. Predictability calms attachment. Uncertainty activates desire. This is why men who are inconsistent, emotionally centered in themselves, or slightly unreachable often provoke stronger reactions, even when they are objectively worse partners. Not because women love chaos, but because chaos creates contrast. Contrast sharpens perception. Perception fuels attraction. When a man immediately explains himself, over-communicates his intentions, and rushes to reduce emotional ambiguity, he kills the very space where imagination lives. And imagination is where desire grows. Nietzsche warned about this long before dating psychology existed. He wrote that humans do not desire happiness, they desire intensification of life. Kindness does not intensify life. Depth does. Stillness does. Emotional self-containment does. A man who does not chase validation sends a powerful unconscious signal. My emotional world is not dependent on you. This triggers curiosity. Curiosity is the gateway emotion to desire. But most men panic in that space. They rush to prove, explain, and reassure. They think love is built through transparency alone. But transparency without mystery feels like emotional nudity without attraction. Women want to discover a man, not be handed him fully assembled. When there is no emotional work required to understand you, there is no emotional investment. And when there is no investment, attachment cannot transition into desire. This is why over-availability creates emotional laziness in attraction. The woman does not lean forward emotionally. She leans back. Part 3. The shadow attraction. Women rarely admit. Here is the uncomfortable truth few will say openly. Women are not attracted to men who need them. They are attracted to men who choose them. Need smells like dependency. Choice smells like power. A man who structures his emotional life around a woman places her in the role of regulator, not lover. This creates pressure. Pressure suffocates desire. Jung observed that when the feminine feels responsible for a man's emotional stability, Sexual polarity collapses because erotic energy flows between two individuated beings, not between a caretaker and a dependent. This is why women are drawn to men who have boundaries, internal discipline, and a life that does not orbit romance. Not because these men are cruel, but because they are self-contained. Self-containment creates gravity. Gravity pulls without effort. A man who does not chase approval creates an emotional vacuum, and nature hates vacuums. The feminine psyche leans in to fill it. This is the hidden reason why indifference often outperforms affection in early attraction. Not coldness, not arrogance, but emotional sovereignty. When a man stops performing goodness as a strategy and becomes rooted in his own direction, he stops offering safety prematurely. Instead, he offers presence, and presence is far more seductive than reassurance. Women do not want to be saved. They want to feel something awaken inside them. And that awakening only happens in the presence of a man who is not trying to be wanted. Part 4. Why providing too much safety creates disrespect. Safety is necessary for love, but safety given too early produces something unexpected: loss of respect. Respect is born from perceived strength. Strength is perceived through self-regulation, not sacrifice. When a man rushes to emotionally protect a woman before she has invested, he communicates something dangerous at a subconscious level. I am afraid to lose you. Fear dissolves polarity. A woman does not feel safe with a fearful man. She feels burdened by him. This is the paradox men rarely grasp. Providing safety from a place of abundance feels grounding. Providing safety from a place of anxiety feels suffocating. The feminine psyche is exquisitely sensitive to emotional subtext. Words matter far less than emotional posture. A man can say all the right things and still feel weak if his actions orbit approval. This is why excessive reassurance backfires. It signals emotional instability disguised as kindness. Jung described this as inflation of the persona, the mask of goodness becoming a compensation for inner insecurity. When goodness is used as a strategy rather than a state, it loses authenticity. Women sense this instinctively, and when authenticity collapses, attraction follows. This is why many women slowly lose respect for men who do everything right, not because they hate kindness, but because they feel emotionally held hostage by it. They feel obligated to reciprocate feelings they did not yet earn. Obligation kills desire. Desire must feel voluntary, dangerous, and alive. Safety must arrive after attraction, not before it. Otherwise, safety becomes a cage. Part 5. Emotional stillness versus emotional performance. One of the most seductive traits in a man is emotional stillness. Not emotional numbness, not coldness, stillness. Stillness is the ability to experience emotion without leaking it. Most men perform emotion. They explain, justify, clarify, reassure, apologize, and overshare. They mistake emotional transparency for emotional strength. But transparency without containment feels chaotic. A woman feels safer and more aroused around a man who does not react immediately. Reaction signals lack of inner authority. Stillness signals depth. In mythology, gods are still. Animals are reactive. The feminine psyche is drawn to what feels grounded, ancient, unmoved by surface turbulence. This is why silence often speaks louder than confession. When a man does not rush to explain himself, a woman's imagination fills the gap. Imagination fuels attraction far more than information. This is also why men who try to clear misunderstandings too quickly often sabotage themselves. They remove emotional tension before it matures into connection. Tension is not conflict. Tension is charge. Charge is necessary for desire. A man who can sit comfortably in emotional ambiguity demonstrates mastery over himself. That mastery is intoxicating because it signals, I am not afraid of losing control. Fearlessness is not loud. It is quiet, and quiet men often terrify and fascinate women more than aggressive ones. Part 6. Why women test men and what the test really means. Women test men not to manipulate them, but to locate the center of their psyche. A test is never about the surface behavior. It is about emotional stability. Does he collapse when challenged? Does he over-explain when misunderstood? Does he seek reassurance when tension appears? Each reaction answers a deeper question. Can this man hold his ground under pressure? Most men fail tests by trying to pass them. They argue. They defend. They chase approval. Approval seeking is a confession of weakness. A man who passes tests does not try to win. He remains congruent. Congruence is alignment between inner state and outer behavior. When a woman senses congruence, her nervous system relaxes and opens because congruence signals truth. Truth feels safe. But here is the deeper layer most never see. Tests are not obstacles. They are invitations. An invitation to demonstrate self-trust. When a man trusts himself, a woman can surrender emotionally. Surrender cannot exist without trust. Trust cannot exist without strength. This is why attraction collapses when men become reactive. Reactivity places the woman in the dominant emotional role. Dominance kills polarity. Polarity is what creates desire. This is the hidden architecture beneath relationships. Women are not trying to control men. They are searching for men who can control themselves. And the man who understands this stops chasing what women want and starts embodying what they respond to. Part 7. The final truth. Why women walk away from what they need. Here is the truth that collapses illusions. Women do not abandon men because those men lack value. They abandon men because those men collapse tension too early. A man can be loyal, attentive, emotionally open, and morally correct, and still trigger a quiet rejection, because attraction is not a reward for virtue. It is a response to polarity. Polarity requires difference. Difference requires friction. Friction requires the willingness to not be liked at all times. Most men are taught the opposite. They are taught to smooth edges, soften presence, and become agreeable. But agreeableness is neutral energy. Neutral energy does not magnetize. It dissolves. What women need is emotional security. What they want is emotional movement. And when a man gives security without movement, he becomes static. Static objects fade into the background. This is where resentment is born. A woman begins to feel trapped by safety she did not yet choose. She feels guilty for losing attraction. She feels confused because nothing is wrong, but something is missing. Aliveness. The feminine psyche does not want perfection. It wants experience. This is why women sometimes return to men who hurt them and leave men who protect them. Not because pain is attractive, but because pain proves intensity. Intensity proves presence. Presence proves life. A man who has no edge has no gravity. Jung warned that when a man represses his assertive instinct, it does not disappear, it turns inward. It becomes passivity, compliance, and emotional leakage. And women feel this instantly. They may not articulate it, but they feel it as a subtle loss of respect. Respect is the silent pillar of desire. Love can survive without excitement for a while. Desire cannot survive without respect for a moment. This is why many relationships die slowly. Not through betrayal, but through emotional flattening. The man becomes predictable. The woman becomes restless, and both feel misunderstood. The tragedy is not lack of love. It is lack of polarity. The man who is wanted versus the man who is needed. The man who is needed is appreciated. The man who is wanted is chosen. Need creates dependency. Want creates pursuit. A man who builds his identity around being needed places his worth in another person's approval. That is weakness disguised as devotion. A man who is wanted is not chasing desire. He is generating it. He has direction. He has boundaries. He has silence. Silence is power, because silence says, I am not afraid of space. Space is where desire breathes. This is why the strongest men are often misunderstood early. They do not over-explain. They do not negotiate attraction. They do not perform emotional labor to be liked. They allow themselves to be felt rather than understood. And this is the final reversal most men resist. The more you try to be what women want, the less they want you. The moment you stop organizing your behavior around attraction, attraction reorganizes itself around you. Not because women are cruel, but because desire cannot chase what is chasing it. Desire moves toward what is grounded, unavailable to manipulation, and internally complete. Completion is seductive. A man who does not need to be chosen is the man women fear losing. This is not strategy. This is alignment, and alignment changes everything. If this truth unsettled you, that means it touched something real, because growth always feels like loss before it feels like power. If you want to understand how to build emotional gravity without manipulation, how to remain kind without becoming weak, and how to hold masculine stillness in a chaotic dating world, then the next video will go even deeper. We will explore why emotional withdrawal works, why silence rewires attraction, and how men regain polarity without becoming cold. Subscribe, not for tactics, but for truth most people are too afraid to face. Because once you understand this, you stop chasing what women want and start embodying what they respond to, and that changes the game permanently.